Good evening. Welcome to the Yorktown Central School District Board of Education meeting for August 28, 2017. Can I have a motion to go into executive session for the matters pertaining to the employment history of particular individuals and contractual negotiations?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Can I have a motion to go back into public session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Yorktown Central School District Board of Education meeting for August 28, 2017. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then remain standing for a moment of silence for those who have lost community members of our armed forces, and especially to remember the mother of Lauren Reed, the mother of Michelle Purpura, the husband of Carol Bercuni, a retired teacher, and all of the victims of the Houston flooding. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm going to start with public comment. Anybody in the audience wishing to speak on agenda-related items only? No. Okay. So can I have a point of order? I know we were going to start with interviews first, but we have some new staff here. So if we could just do personnel real quickly. That way, I know they have to work tomorrow, so we'll actually let them go on their way. Is everybody okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. So let's do this first. Okay. Upon recommendation of the superintendent, the following be approved. Certified personnel. Do you want me to read all these names? No. Okay. Certified personnel appointments. We have summer curriculum hours for new teachers, part-time appointments and temporary appointments, part-time academic intervention teachers, a regular substitute appointment, seasonal substitute appointments. We have teaching stipends, other compensation, leave of absence, coaches and extracurricular, coach appointment, resignations. Classified personnel, we have appointments for civil service, a teacher aide change in hours, our police officer monitors for the year. We have stipends, permanent appointments for civil service, and resignations, and a resignation for the purpose of retirement, which is Charlie Wolford.
8 pages.
8 pages.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Ron, did you want to say anything? Yep, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
I just want to offer a quick word of congratulations to our new hires. It's so great to see so many of you in the audience. Welcome to what I know you will come to learn as a great team here in Yorktown. My highest commendations to our principals, to their assistant principals, and the interview committees within the buildings, as well as my cabinet here at district office. We really invested a lot of time in the interview process because we have a very firm belief that only the best will come to work in Yorktown. And the candidates in the audience and the candidates that the board has just approved for employment in the district reflect the very best in the teaching world and in the support service world as well. Welcome to Yorktown. I look forward to supporting you in your work, and I look forward to a very long career here in the district. Congratulations. Can we have all the new hires please stand so that we can recognize you, so we know who you are? All right, welcome.
Come up, introduce themselves.
So what I'm going to ask, you took the time to come out, and I really want to celebrate your hiring here in the district. I'd love for you to just come up to the podium, if you could introduce yourself and the position in which you were hired. I would love for everyone here to recognize you this evening.
Good evening. My name is Chris Miller. I'm a new assistant principal at the high school. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Looking forward to it.
Hi, how are you? I'm Allison Greenberg. I am the new school counselor at the high school. Thank you.
My name is Joseph Abdeck. I was appointed as the assistant principal at Yorktown High School. Thank you for the opportunity.
Hi, Carol McKenna, reading teacher at Mohansick.
Nice.
Hi, Liz Martin, special education kindergarten for Mohansick. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Stefania Longabuco, and I'll be working in the main office in the high school. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kimberly Cortese. I'm going to be the nurse in the high school.
Very
I look
nice.
forward to working with all of you.
Great group.
Welcome. Sorry we put you on the spot like that. You want to just take 5 minutes and okay, we'll just take 5 quick minutes. Okay? Ron, just want to say one other thing, and then we'll start with interviews.
I'd also like to acknowledge Patty Sauber here tonight. We recognized her on this agenda with a promotion, and it recognizes the fine work that she's done for this district day in and day out. I can speak to it from the parent perspective. I can speak to it now from the superintendent's perspective. She is absolutely wonderful to work with, and her contributions to this district are tremendous, and we appreciate all the good work that she does, and I wish her luck in this new position. Congratulations, Patty.
All right. Dennis, before we start, there's an awful feedback, and it's going to be really distracting.
Very tinny.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Well, the fans aren't helping either.
No, it's not the fan, because I can hear it. There's something's up. I don't know what it is, but it's in the...
No?
No, okay, I hear it, like...
Here, the S's.
Yeah, no, I can hear it.
Testing, test.
Yes.
See?
Yeah.
See, isn't that
Might be
good?
the way I
Kind
speak.
of hissy.
Stop speaking. Okay. All right. So we're going to start with the interview process for a new board member. We had a total of 12. We have 7. 6 who are here tonight. We have a 7th who'll be with us via Skype, and that was because of an extenuating circumstance. His brother had a liver transplant yesterday. So that was very extenuating. So he will be joining us. He will be joining us. So I guess everybody understands the process, but you're all assigned an order. So what we're going to do is ask everybody to, in that order, to introduce themselves, and then we have questions we're going to ask, and Yvette will pick a name, and we'll continue in that order, but the first person, and then we'll just continue on. So it's not the same. Number 1 isn't answering the question each time, so everybody has a chance to go first. And then we're going to try and make a decision. We have a lot of really high-quality candidates. It's amazing because we've never seen this in 11 years, so we're kind of excited tonight. So if you can just start, I think, actually, Pete, who's on Skype, is number 1, so he's going to introduce himself, and then we will move on. I know, it's trying to... The S's are really bad. Do something about it. So Pete, can you just introduce yourself, tell us how long you've been in the district? We can't see him.
Sure. Peter Sacchia, 24-year resident of the Yorktown Central School District.
Terrific. And then everybody, we're starting with number 2. Can you just come up to the podium, introduce yourself, and then we can move along?
Stephen Freifeld, in District 8 years.
I'm Jeffrey Asher. I've been in the district for almost 14 years.
Hi, I'm Meredith Jacobitz. I've been in the district for 2 years.
Good evening, everyone. Lisa Roll. I've been in the district 14 or 15 years. Good evening. I'm Jennifer Mezzincello. I'm a 36-year resident of Yorktown.
Oh, wow.
Good evening, Christine Lampersberger, 18 years.
18 years. Wow, okay. All right. So I'm going to read the question, and then you're going to pull the number, right? Pull a name? Okay. So we're going to ask that because we have so many people, that we keep it to a minute and a half for your answers so that we don't go all night. So I'm going to read the first question, then Yvette will just pull the name, and so that way it just seems fair. So our first question is, why the Yorktown Board of Education, and why now? And is there a particular issue that motivated you to apply for this open seat? Why did you not put your petition to run for the seat in the past election? Meredith?
Hi, good evening. My name is Meredith. So I'm running because, I know I haven't been in the district very long. I just moved here with my family 2 years ago. And I've been struck by how much of a community is here, not just in the schools, but in the surrounding areas. And so I'm really motivated by a desire to serve and give back to my community. Why now? Why not? Like, I'm motivated, I'm interested, I have energy and enthusiasm, so why not? And why not earlier? Because I'd only been in the district for 1.5 years, and I recognize that as someone who's new to the district, there's a learning curve. I've spent time in the last few months reading a lot of the websites, watching a lot of the board meetings, reading minutes, trying to familiarize myself as much as possible so as to be a credible candidate for this position. That was a long question, so I hope I answered all of the points. Thank you.
So I have been involved in the Yorktown community in a variety of ways over the years, from the PTA to the YAC to the Ask Youth Court Advisory Board. I have served this community in so many different ways, and one way I have not yet served this community is on the Board of Education. So why now? There's a vacancy now. I've known many of you over the years through my work with the Candidates Night, Meet the Candidates. I've been on this side of it while you guys were all getting interviewed and listened to the ways in which you guys have all wanted to serve. And now I feel like it's my turn. You've all taken this district in such a positive direction, and I want to be a part of continuing to take it in a positive direction.
Good evening. I'm a product of Yorktown schools, all the way from Mohansick through Yorktown High School. Been a resident of Yorktown schools for decades, quite honestly. Over that period of time, I've certainly seen periods of instability in the district and on the Board of Education. Fortunately, though, for the time that my relatively young children have been in the district, and now that I've settled in the district with a family and so forth, the district's been very stable. I think we've had strong leadership. Yorktown does a lot of things really well in terms of recognizing the whole child. I think we have strong administrators, and we have a Board of Education that has worked well together cohesively. And it wasn't my intent to unseat someone who wished to serve with regard to the most recent election. However, at this point, there's a void on the Board of Education, a void that I think would best be filled by someone who has not only a parent perspective with children in the district, but also an educational perspective. I do work in education. I work with many different stakeholders in my district. One of the largest parts of my role is chairing special education meetings, and I have never left a room where we didn't reach consensus. And I think that's a huge piece of the role of a trustee, is not only bringing others to consensus, but reaching consensus. It may not have been what you initially intended, but that's how we have to move forward. And I think that is a strong suit that I would bring to this role. I think some things that Yorktown is working towards include more problem solving in terms of the STEAM sort of approach, foreign language, flexibility in thinking. Those are things that I think Yorktown can improve upon in terms of offering more opportunities for students to think a little bit more deeply, problem solve, and gain these real-world applications that will serve them out in the workforce and out in the real world. I know Yorktown certainly prepared me to go to college and beyond and be a successful professional in the world, and the academics are solid, they're there. But as we produce whole people, we need to give them more opportunities for flexible thinking, problem solving, and application-based learning.
Hi. My first experience in a board position when I was at the age of 16. A student at Northport High School, and we had a program there where students were able to participate. So I was one of 2 people on our on the school board. It was very interesting. Absolutely, that experience played a lot into my thoughts as I went into college, and certainly has, led me into the roles I've had on my professional experience as far as management. Regarding this community, I've been in the district for 18 years, been in Yorktown for a good 20. Moving to our side of the district was a huge issue when we got here and realized we wanted to be in Yorktown. We made that happen very quickly. And I was really dismayed originally when we didn't have full-time kindergarten. And so we actually started at the St. Patrick's School District. So I've had some experience with all of the schools in the Yorktown area. Huge supporter of Yorktown. I've already seen 2 of my children graduate. I have my youngest about to enter kindergarten, and I'm certainly have experienced the full life of what the academic student is going through here. The community here is fabulous. I feel very connected to the community. I think professionally, my work in human resources maybe gives me a good foundation to hopefully listen in and participate in the decisions and the evaluation that needs to be made for all issues brought to the board. Thank you.
Good evening again. Why now? Well, my 5-year-old is starting to school in about another week. I like to volunteer and help out my community. My goal is family, community, country. Might sound a little weird and outdated, but I firmly believe that. I volunteer for my homeowners association as an officer on the board. I own a college as a volunteer adjunct professor in long-term care. And I spend a lot of time working with families of children that sort of have problems in school. But my wife and I, we talk to them, we get together, we have any issues that we could have common goals on, we try to figure it out. I run a long-term care center, a nursing home in the Bronx. Been doing this now for 25 years. And I have to deal with what I call the ABCs of government, from New York City, New York State, Department of Health, and the Department of Buildings, Centers of Medicaid, Medicare. It's just, you have to learn how to get along with every government agency and try to get the most for your facility. And hopefully with my life experiences personally and business, I can try to help out the Yorktown Central School District in any way that I can.
Thank you.
We can hear him. Oh. You have to repeat the question.
So the question is, why the Yorktown, why Board of Education, and the second part was why now, correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So why the Board of Education? I've spent 10 years on the Board of Education from 2005 through 2015. I had to resign due to work constraints. And because of that, if my work had prevented, I wouldn't have resigned, and I would still be on Board of Education. I've seen
Thank you. Jeffrey?
I have children in the district, and I want to be part of the process that helps determine the education for my students, my children, and all the children, parents of the district. The board sets forth the policy of education in our district. I want to be part of that process. I want to work with the board members to determine how our children are educated and how the parents interact with that education. Why now? Because there's an open seat on the board. And in the past, I can't answer why I never ran for the board before, but having received the email that said there is an open position, I said now's a good time. I have a child at Mohansick. I have a child in this very school now, and I felt that this is a good time for me to become real part of that education process.
Thank you very much. Okay, the next question. What particular experience or skills have prepared you to serve as a board member? In what school district or community activities or organizations have you been involved? Pick the next person. Number 6. Which is Jennifer.
I think my skill set professionally prepares me for the position of board trustee. Again, I spoke a little bit about reaching consensus, and I think that is certainly an important piece of the role of a trustee. Additionally, the parent perspective, along with the educational perspective, certainly setting policy is different than reaching into the classroom and working with different colleagues and stakeholders as an employee of a school district. But I think that lens is an important piece to consider. In terms of my experiences in the community, I've done a lot of work to support Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, religious education in the town and in the district, along with volunteering in the elementary school that my children attended, Mohansick, along with my experience just growing up and being a part of the community for several decades. I think it speaks to this community and character education and the homeschool connection that I opted to raise my children here. My parents still live in Yorktown, which is a great support. As I said, I'm a product of the Yorktown schools, and I couldn't speak more highly. There's no greater compliment I think I could pay this school district than to come back here and have my children be a part of the community as well.
Thank you.
I would say in my role in human resources, every time the phone rings, every time somebody walks in, you don't know what you're getting. So it has taught me to listen carefully. I do tend to, have a lot of thoughts, but you have to learn how to balance them out. Listen attentively, view things with a different lens. I think one of the fun things about working myself for over 25 years is that my lens changes a little bit and it's constantly being refined. I see life as a lifelong learning process. This would be, no different. Joining the board here, I would by no means think that I would have the answer to any or everything, and it's more about listening, balancing, really, I guess, employing all of those very careful skills that I use to avoid litigation and to employ fairness at work.
Thank you. Pete.
Could you repeat it, please?
What particular experiences or skills have prepared you to serve as a board member? In what school district or community activities or organizations have you been involved?
Okay. As far as experience goes, as I mentioned, I sat on the school board for 10 years already, so I'm fully aware of the intricacies of sitting on a school board. I also sit on many professional boards, so I understand the whole oversight aspect of what a board function truly is. As far as community experience, I sat on the Yorktown and treasurer for a number of years. And in addition to coaching within the Yorktown Athletic Club for going on over 10 years.
Great.
Thank you. Stephen, sorry.
As my role as an operator of a nursing home, which I know is the opposite end of dealing with children and students, I have roughly 250 employees that work directly for me. 200 of them are in the local union. I spend much time dealing with contract negotiations, not only with the union, but with all the contracts that get associated with nursing homes. I have to deal with New York State government, as I mentioned before, the Department of Health, the Department of Buildings, the Fire Department, Homeland Security, and a host of ABCs. That has got me what I would call almost like a Solomon-esque, having to deal with, sometimes there's no right decisions, that everyone is right, and you have to pick the best decision you could possibly make. And people sometimes do get hurt. I have to deal with resident families, I have to deal with the residents, and I have to deal with the staff. And sometimes all three of those are never in line with each other. The expectations of families might be impossible in a nursing home environment in this day and age. The residents that come in, sometimes they might expect something that isn't impossible, but you have to do your best as the administrator and operator to somehow try to get everyone happy. Luckily for us, we're a 5-star nursing home. We were able to turn a nursing home around when I first took over from 1-star, which is the lowest, to 5-star, which is the best, just through sheer hard work, through negotiations. And unfortunately, not everyone is right all the time, but if you're able to sit down, talk, and negotiate with everyone, that really brings you to hopefully a good conclusion. That's what I think my goals would be if I was able to be on the board. Thank you.
So, as I said, I'm a parent of students in the district, and I'm a member of the community. I too have my own business. I'm an estate and elder law attorney. My practice is in Tarrytown. I'm a member of the board for the Yorktown Jewish Center. I've been involved in the Yorktown Street Festival for the past few years. I know what it is to be a member of the community, but I feel that as members of the community, those are qualifications for the PTA, quite frankly. And qualifications for the board is how to be a board member. I've been a board member of the Alzheimer's Association, New York City chapter. I am a board member now of the Yorktown Jewish Center. I've been advisor to clients who have been on boards and have their own boards. And I am also, as part of the New York State Bar Association elder law section, I am a liaison to Albany in our legislative efforts. So I know what it is to liaison with the state. I know what it is to liaison with the community. I know that the function of a board is to be a member of that community, but also to set the policy. And I know that the function of a board member is to be aware of the obligations of the board, the fiscal responsibilities, the community responsibilities. And I know that my experience as a business person as well as a board member in for-profit ventures and not-for-profit ventures qualifies me as a board member for the Board of Education. Thank you.
Thank you. Meredith.
Hi. So when I moved into this district in 2016, I immediately became a class parent for my son who was in kindergarten. The following year, I also was a class parent in 1st grade. This coming year, as he enters 2nd grade, I've taken on additional responsibility with the PTA. I'm the co-chair of the membership committee, and I'll be chairing the art show committee in the spring as well, which does coincide with the election. From a professional perspective, I should say that I am the product of a public school education. I went to the University of Pennsylvania, and I have a PhD in oncology from the University of Cambridge. In my professional life, since my graduate degree, I've worked in fields like market research, where one of my professional responsibilities is to be a moderator, which means that you go into a room with a group of people who have all different opinions, and you solicit their opinions in the most neutral way possible, and bring back all of the information that you find and present it back to your client in a way that does not enrage them or make them very sad, So you have to have a tact and ability to present things in a way. And also your client has to trust the process, right? If they're going to hear bad news, then they have to believe that you've functioned in a way that is representative of looking out for their best interests. In addition, in a professional capacity, I'm also a medical writer, which means that I spend all day taking complex information and finding ways to distill it and share it and turn it into documents that can be used to educate physicians and sales reps and other stakeholders in the medical community. And so I just wanted to say one more thing about the fact that my background is in academic research. I believe that that is a really important, the expansion of the STEM curriculum in the district is an area of special interest for me. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm an attorney. I am a partner in a law firm with offices around the country. There are 5 offices. We have close to 100 attorneys. Trying to corral 100 attorneys at our partner meetings and trying to get them to agree is no easy task. I would imagine at your board meetings, trying to get everyone to agree on certain items is no easy task. I know what it's like to compromise. I know what it's like to mediate. I know what it's like to try to get a meeting of the minds. So not only do I have to do that in my partnership meetings, I am also a trial attorney. As a trial attorney, I attend mediations. At mediations, I have to get roomfuls of attorneys to try to agree to reach a compromise for the benefit of my client. That is also not an easy task. So I deal with conflict all of the time. I know what it's like to manage different personalities for the common good. The common good in that case is my client. Here, we do have a common good. That common good is the children. So we need to manage all of the personalities and try to reach a resolution of whatever the issue is for the common good, and that is the children. I know what that's like. As an attorney, I'm also a trusted advisor. Same thing you all are, and that's the trustees. You're all trusted advisors for what? The children. So my professional experience has certainly prepared me to sit as a Board of Education, a trustee. My experience in the community is vast. When I first moved to Yorktown, I started out as a PTA member, and that quickly advanced. It was a committee member, moved on to president of many of the different PTAs. I was vice president of Mildred E. Strang PTA, moved on to president of the high school PTA, eventually serving as co-president with Trustee Kushner of the district PTA. As co-president of the district PTA, we had to work with the administration. I am a lifetime member of the Huskers. I have been a Girl Scout leader, a Boy Scout leader. I have been on the Youth Court Advisory Board. Every organization that exists in this town, I have been not only a member, an active participant, but assumed whatever leadership role has been available because it helps the children of our community. This is a community and we all need to work together. I can't just be that mom on the sideline watching my kid play soccer. I need to be an active part of it to help our community. It makes me qualified to sit with you all.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. Our third question. What do you see as the primary work of the Board of Education? What is a school member's role and responsibility? And how does that differ from the role of the superintendent or the administration? Pete, did he hear the question?
No, I didn't.
What do you see as the primary work of the Board of Education? What is a school member's role and responsibility? How does that role differ from the role of the superintendent or the administration?
Jackie, can you just repeat the first part of it?
What do you see as the primary work of the Board of Education?
Okay. So the primary role of the Board of Education is oversight. The superintendent sets the goals of the district, and the school board has to make every attempt not to get in the way of the superintendent, the administrators to do not really have any set agendas other than making sure that the board acts respectfully, honestly, and looks at things in a way that does not try to interfere with the day-to-day business of the superintendent or the administration.
Okay, the second part is, how does that role differ from the superintendent or admin?
How does the school board role different than the superintendent?
Mm-hmm. How does it differ?
I'm sorry, Jackie, I can't hear you.
You answered, never mind, you answered it. Okay, they told me he answered it. Sorry,
Let him know.
Stephen.
Tell him.
It's fine, just tell him fine, no worries.
No, we got it. Tell him he answered the question and we're good with it.
Thank you.
To me, the school board is the hands-on controllers of the schools underneath them. They take their guidance from the superintendent, from the higher-ups, and then they make up the policies to enforce what comes from them. So they are the ones that are in the schools. They know the individual problems that each school has, the positives, the negatives, the advantages, and they now follow the overall guidance that was given to them, the policies, the laws, the procedures, and now they take that and they put that into a hands-on working policy that the principals, the assistant principals would follow to betterment of each school. Thank you.
The school board sets the policy of education for the district. The superintendent guides the board in its mission and its goal. The school district effectuates the policy of the Board of Education. The school board also liaisons with the State Department of Education, as well as, when appropriate, the Federal Department of Education. And I believe that the members of the school, whether they be students or teachers, should do their best to be as forthright and open and honest with the district and the school board as the people on the ground floor who actually have to work with that policy, with those procedures, to say what's working and what's not working. As a whole, it is one body. It is the policy, it is the procedure, it is the people on the ground who are actually living it. And I believe that the Board of Education has to be mindful of each of those roles in order to best do its job.
Thank you.
So the school board is responsible for devising the operational and financial limitations or the environment in which the district has to function. And so for me, it comes down to the idea of responsible stewardship. The school board sort of oversees and overlooks how things are executed by the superintendent and the rest of the school members. But I have to say, I think the function of the school board can only be as strong as the information that they're able to collect from school members, from teachers, administrators, to help inform how policies are developed and shaped and changed as they're needed to deal with the issues that come up for our children every day.
So the superintendent, as the CEO, runs the day-to-day operations. The Board of Education sets the policy, the fiscal oversight, and the governance, all working together in a partnership for the common good of the children.
So there are three responsibilities of the Board of Education. One is to hire the superintendent, which was, of course, a recent event in the district. One is certainly the fiduciary responsibilities to the taxpayers and the community. And the third, and what I'd like to speak a little bit about, is setting policies. And this is where I think really the difference between being a school employee versus being a board trustee really lies, is in setting forth policies. So the Board of Education, as an entity together is certainly a powerful force within the district and really sets forth policies that then the superintendent carries out day to day and really puts into play. Certainly, we all want what's best for children. There are over 3,000 children in this district, very different children and very different community members. So what one person feels might be best for the children in this community might be a different opinion than what someone else feels might be the best for the children in the community. And the beautiful thing in this district is that we have phenomenal administrators, both at the district level and at the building level, and we have so many resources within the district. And that's where I see the administration and what the employees of the district do is look at the resources within the district. So if the board sets a policy about the use of technology and perhaps educating students about safe use of technology, just as an example, that may be carried out by the superintendent, that would be carried out by the superintendent, and a plan might be put in place to move that forward by district administrators, building level administrators. How will that actually look day to day? How will that look in the classroom? And certainly there are different stakeholders that might have various opinions and ideas about how that might happen, but the board is really setting the policy about what that will look like overall based on the values of the district.
I imagine each May or so when the budget comes up for voting in the district, I can just only imagine the amount of hours that have gone in and the countless work done behind the scenes. And I would not profess to know everyone's exact role, and that would be part of the learning, but I can respect that the superintendent is balancing what the identified current needs of the school system and the students are, as well as where we are going for the education that our students are going to need for all those jobs that we don't even know about yet in the future. But it's also about being responsible to the entire community so that people who do not have students presently in the district come out and vote yes on the budget because they've identified with it and they understand it. So I would see our role in the Board of Ed to be supportive of that. It's a guardianship and it's a partnership.
Thank you. Okay. We just have two more questions. Could you support a board decision you did not vote in favor of? Why or why not? And what is the best way to address differences of opinion between members of the board or between the board and the administration? I know, it's horrible. Two.
You always have to support the board if you're on the board, even if you disagree with the findings. You have to be a cohesive team, team being the operative word. A team is not made up of individuals. It's made up of a group of people that have one goal. There might be difference of opinions, as I said, but overall, if it's a majority or two-thirds majority, whatever that number might be, you have to go with that. You can't just say, well, I didn't vote for that particular issue, I'm not going to follow it. It doesn't work that way, and you're not going to be a useful member of any team or any board for that matter. I think the biggest issue would be is that if you have a disagreement, you have to go to that individual after it's over, explain why you disagree with them. They will explain to you why they voted the opposite way. You might understand it, you might agree or disagree, but in the end, it's the overall group decision, and then you have to follow it 100% and give it the best you can one way or the other.
Board members don't always agree. We know that. If my experience as a board member has taught me anything, it's that. Board members don't agree. And there is a proper place for disagreement amongst board members. That's during the discussion, during the moments that lead up to the vote and then the decision. But once that vote is taken, you have to stick to that consensus. You have to stick to that decision. We are members of a board. We are not individual people interacting with the board. The board has to have the complete approval of each member in order for it to work properly and efficiently. There are always going to be decisions that I may not agree with if I'm a member of the board. I'm going to try my best to make sure that my position is going to be heard. And my position is going to be well thought out, and it's going to be reasoned, and it's going to be explained properly. And if people have different or better positions than me, I'm going to listen to that. And then we're going to make a decision based on the issue in front of us. But once that decision is made, then the board as a group has to stick to it.
So absolutely, I could support a decision. That was one that I did not originally support in the course of conversation. And actually, I think that's, as others have said, I think it's important to be in a situation where you feel that you can speak freely with other board members and have the kind of robust conversation and dialogue about why some people feel one way and some feel another way. But at the end of the day, when the decision is made, it's the responsibility of a board member to hold the line, show a united front, and say that we made this decision and we're going to stand behind it as a group. In terms of my thoughts on the best way to resolve disagreements, I find that if you open up the dialogue and give people the opportunity to speak their minds and feel that they can say what is on their minds without judgment or concern, that's half the battle. People can't always be convinced, but I think, you know, as a former scientist, if you can put data on the table, that's always very compelling. And at the end of the day, like I said, it's most important that the board present a united front, and I believe that that's important. Thank you.
I don't disagree with anything that's been said. Of course, as a board, once a decision is reached, you have to stand behind it. Otherwise, what will happen is a dysfunctional board, which here in Yorktown we've seen in the past. I witnessed that. We had a dysfunctional board at one time. You have to listen to each other's opinions, share your opinion, and have a mutual respect for each other. And once the decision is reached, move forward together with that mutual respect. If a disagreement arises, as it happens, right? As a partner, as a board member, disagreements arise. And you listen to each other with respect and with your ears open and your eyes open. And once the agreement is reached, you move forward. If a disagreement arises, you listen with maturity and as an adult, and you come to an agreement, the vote is made. And if it gets personal or emotions arise, because we are human beings, when it's done, you shake hands and you move on, and you come back to the table and you move forward from there. Otherwise, you'll never be able to get to the next issue. So you have to just put it behind you and stand together and move forward for the good of our community.
So I apologize for repeating myself. I feel as though I keep speaking about this, but in my first statement to you, I spoke about consensus, and I think the importance of consensus, not only bringing others to consensus, but being able to be brought to consensus as well. This is something that I do day in and day out, is sit in meetings with a variety of stakeholders who have very robust, hard opinions about what they think is the best course of action. As I said, I've never left a room without having reached consensus. The Board of Education is, as a unit, a powerful one, and I think we need to keep that in mind. Once we reach consensus, that's a decision that's made, and that's a decision that we're making moving forward. Everything is a process, and that doesn't mean that it's something that couldn't be revisited in the future. But at that point, this is what the course of action has been set forth, and I think that we need to encourage stakeholders in district to trust in the process, trust that a decision that was made along with robust discussion, at times animated discussion, but that all opinions were considered, and that was the decision that was made moving forward.
Professionally this year, I had one of my real highlights, and I was appointed by the president of my organization to be the Respect Credo co-champion for my employer, which simply means that I'm charged with making sure.
sorry.
that the respect is built into all aspects of employment at my employer. Consensus building or coming to a decision does not always mean that everyone's going to agree. The definition of consensus is that we've all arrived kind of at a decision that we can all support. Conflict is natural and it will occur on almost any topic. So it's having and being able to engage in that respectful dialogue, a respectful exchange of ideas, and again, working towards that consensus. What is it that we're all, I mean, we all have the common goal. We're here most, for the children. But it's all of our decisions may not feel like that as we're handling them, but they are really all about the children. Where are we going with it? Is it, keeping it on a professional, respectful level, the dialogue. Again, consensus means that we're all in support so that once a decision is reached, we shouldn't have a dysfunctional board because we should have enough respect where we've heard each other out, talked it through, and are in support of the decision, because that is what a consensus is. Thank you.
Okay, it's Pete. Okay, so Pete, I'm going to read the question again. Tell me if you can't hear me. Can you support a board decision you did not vote in favor of? Why or why not? And what is the best way to address differences of opinion between members of the board or between the board and the administration?
I heard that one perfectly clear.
I'll bet you did.
So, and being number 7 for a question, I apologize in advance for the redundancy, but I've had a number of experiences where I was in the minority on the school board, where I voted differently than my board members, and the result of that was the best decision for the school for the school district. Once the decision was made, I always jumped on board and approached it with the same vigor that I would if I was voting in the affirmative. I do believe that with 7 different individuals, with 7 different opinions, it allows for constructive conflict. And I use the word constructive conflict because it fosters debate. And the way to come to the best decision is always to debate, to challenge, but always do it in a respectful, professional manner. And that's the one thing I always approach it is as long as we're respectful and professional, it's okay to disagree. But I've always jumped on board when I didn't agree with the original issue. But at the end of the day, it was best for the district, and I will always do what's best for the district.
Thank you. All right, we're up to our last question. So please tell us 3 things the district is doing very well and 3 things that can be improved upon, and what is the board's role in making those improvements? Jeffrey.
The board hasn't done anything wrong. No, I'm kidding. The board's always going to make mistakes, whether they know it or they don't, but it's always going to be up to how the policy trickles down to the actual schools to find out what those mistakes are. As I said, my kids are already in the system. I've got an 8-year-old going into 3rd grade, a 12-year-old going into 7th grade, and we've been part of the school district from the very beginning. School board does a wonderful job of directing the school district, and the school district does a very good job of directing the schools, and my students are the proof of, my kids are the proof of that. My kids have a wonderful education, and we're very proud. When we moved into Yorktown, my wife is a teacher, and when we moved into Yorktown, we did so because my wife wanted a good, strong education. She wanted a school district that was going to provide a good, strong education to our kids and also to our neighbors, etc. And we chose Yorktown for that reason. It has a reputation of having a wonderful school district. Other school districts have wonderful reputations here and there, whether it's for elementary or middle or high school, but Yorktown has a very strong reputation for a great education for all of its students. And I think that's what the board does very well. The board liaisons with its schools and its administrators and its students wonderfully. I know that the administrators are always hands-on, the teachers are always hands-on. I expect the board members to be open to ideas and to positions of fellow board members, even if contrary to their own, and to have that reasonable, rational dialogue in order to reach that decision that the board needs to make. I can't really identify areas in which the board has a problem or needs to fix things. What I can certainly say is that as a board member, we should be more out in the open. Superintendent is the face of the district, is the body of the district, is the person who's out in the district, as well as other members of the administration. But I would like, as a parent, now I'm speaking as a parent, I would like to interact more with the board members within the community, not just as an opportunity to come to a board meeting, but I would like the opportunity to meet one-on-one with board members within events of the community, and not just see the superintendent at school functions. I would like to see the board be a little bit more present in some of those community events.
Ms. Meredith is next.
So I think one thing that is really great about the school board and the district in general is how well they make an effort to communicate. Like I said, I spent a lot of time Googling and researching, and I am astounded at how many emails, newsletters, mailings, social media, like you name it. I think the only option that you haven't yet explored is skywriting to communicate information to people in the community. So I think that's wonderful, and I love it. The other thing I love about the district, and that I think the board does a great job of supporting, is creating an environment where there are opportunities for the children that span the entire range of things they could be interested in. We have a literary magazine, we have all the sports teams, we have science teams. For every child who has an interest in anything, there is something for them, and I think that's wonderful as well. It's hard to say, from my perspective, what the board could do better. I think it would be a little presumptuous, to be perfectly honest, to make some kind of statement about the types of things that could be improved. But I would say, as a parent, I have a vested interest in seeing how the board shapes policy to improve STEM curriculum in particular. I think there are opportunities to improve that. I know there was a recent mailing that highlighted some of the STEM or STEAM initiatives from the past year, and some of the activities were, for example, reading Charlotte's Web is not necessarily a STEM activity. It's a wonderful activity, and I love One Book, One School. I think that's a great activity, but that's not really exactly STEM. So there's a little room for improvement there. In terms of what the board's role is in terms of all of this, I really think that it's, listening to all of the stakeholders, hearing from people, teachers, students, administrators, parents, and setting policies that really set everyone up for success, and then letting them move along the path that's been created by the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone's calling you?
What's the timer?
Oh.
You asked me to set a timer.
Sorry.
So I have to laugh.
Sorry, Lisa. Just yelling at him.
It's all good.
It's my role.
I have to laugh. I have an older stepdaughter who graduated from high school in 2007, and I'm looking at the awards behind you guys, and those didn't exist in 2007, and that's what Yorktown is doing right. My daughter Amanda is a senior in the high school, and my daughter Juliana is in 7th grade, and she was wearing my daughter Amanda's National Blue Ribbon 2011 t-shirt that Amanda got when she was in the middle school. She was wearing that the other day, and Amanda said to Juliana, "Why are you wearing my blue ribbon t-shirt? I earned that t-shirt. If you want a blue ribbon t-shirt, you better make Strang as good as I made Strang when I was there. And that is what Yorktown is doing right. The pride these kids have in this district is what Yorktown is doing right. The cutting edge technology, the awards that we're winning, the National District of Character, that is what Yorktown is doing right. What are we doing wrong? Nothing. Nothing. We are producing amazing students. My son, who is a graduate 2 years ago, is at the University of Albany. Quite honestly, I didn't think my son, it's going to be on camera, I didn't think my son would ever get there. I remember when he was in kindergarten and he couldn't remember to put his coat on the hook, and Miss Stanton, who I think is Miss Stelbazo now, would call me every day, Miss Roll, he just can't get his coat on the hook. He couldn't remember to do that, and now he's a sophomore at the University of Albany. That is what Yorktown is doing right. We are combating cyberbullying. We are combating the social media problems. We are doing all of those things right. So congratulations to every single one of you. You are doing the right thing. And I am very excited, and I can't wait to be a part of it.
So Yorktown's character education is certainly second to none, as we can see evidenced in this room, but all over the community. We see that Yorktown's character education is just simply phenomenal. The value and emphasis that we place on the whole child, and this is something that is a value that I think is among the district, but it trickles down all the way to the elementary schools, middle school, high school. I think we just really emphasize that, and I think that's really critical. Additionally, I think homeschool communication in this district is a priority, and I think it's evolved over time. Newsletters still come home, and that's phenomenal, but the social media presence and the community presence that the schools have is a really important connection, and I think that is definitely present, and I think our community senses that. Certainly, I'm very proud of this district. I'm glad that my children are a part of it. Things that I value and I'd like to see move forward in the district, so quote-unquote improvements that I'd like to see. We all talk about STEM and the importance of STEM and robotics and coding and giving our students these real-world opportunities to apply as they move forward in their careers. And I think it's about STEM, but I think it's about more than STEM as well. I think it's about problem solving. I think it's about learning to overcome setbacks and obstacles. And I think we as adults, and I think that students especially, learn just as much from a setback or a challenge or a difficulty or a failure than they do from a success. And I think that's important for them to carry on into the real world, not just academics, but this type of approach to problem solving. I think we see that in STEM activities. I think we also see it in other initiatives like an expansion of the foreign language program and things of that sort to really emphasize these problem-solving approaches for our students as they move forward. While I just spoke about how I think we do a great job of homeschool communication, I think student connectedness in the face of what's going on with social media and the challenges our students face and our parents face, I think that's just critical. And the research really shows us that students that are connected to a teacher, a peer, an administrator, an adult in the building, those students fare so much better. And I think that's something that we need to continue to build and emphasize and value, truly value the time that goes into that, building that connection, and the importance of that connection for our students. In terms of the board's responsibility in carrying out these sort of items that I've discussed, I think it's really about valuing these initiatives, working with the administration and professionals in the district to see what can we carry out, how can we set some policies in place that show that we really value this, the time that goes into it, the professional work that goes into it, the resources that might need to go into it, but this is something that we value. This is something that we'd like to see carried out throughout the district, and that's what I think the board's role is in terms of carrying that out.
Thank you.
I
I would say one thing we all have in common is a tremendous pride in the school district and our students. I am fascinated by the fact that the students are so highly engaged at all levels, at all schools. It starts with the superintendent and it goes to the different principals of the different schools. They're doing an amazing job. Their staff is engaged. The students, students don't get engaged unless the staff is engaged. So it's admirable. I think there's a tremendous amount of work that goes very quietly, maybe unnoticed by many people, to ensure that that's happening. But that high level of engagement is not found in all school districts. So I think that that's something that's happening very well and very effectively here in Yorktown. All of the programs that we are all tremendously proud of take years to achieve. And I'm sure that we are already, as a school district and board, embarking on not only maintaining them, but where are we going next and what programs need to be supported. I don't know what the board is necessarily doing wrong. I would look to say I'm sure we're part of what needs to be done in order to help us get to the next high achievement.
Do you need the question again?
Please.
Please tell us 3 things the district is doing very well and 3 things that can be improved upon. What is the board's role in making those improvements?
Thank you. So, again, I'm not trying to be redundant, but I think some of the things that the district is doing really well. When you look at our administration, faculty, staff, students, I think we basically rank up there with any school district in the county. As mentioned earlier, we're national and state district of character, which again we are now being recognized at the national level. When you look at our athletic programs, they're both state ranked and nationally ranked, and well recognized throughout the county. I was around when our school buildings were, how do I put it, much to be desired, and the transformation in our campus and our facilities really ranks us up there with some of the best in the county. When I drive on that campus today, I was so proud of being part of it and being part of the whole transformation. I think as far as things we need to work on, I've seen this district go from dysfunctional to run in an unbelievable manner. And I think with the new superintendent in place, it will just continue on. I think the thing we just all need to be aware of with a change in leadership becomes a little uncertainty, and change is something that we all have to adhere to and respond to. But again, I think we're in great hands, and I look forward to having the opportunity maybe to serve again and be part of it.
Speak for themselves when someone asks me how well the board is doing. I think it's a testament to everybody. I think one of the biggest attributes that the board has that I can see is communication. Communication, as I said before, solves so many problems. It takes issues that a family or students might have, and if we communicate better with them, it really doesn't become a major issue. We send emails out, we send letters out, we communicate via one-to-one. Teachers stay after school and talk to parents, principals, assistant principals. I firmly believe that communication is very important, and I think that's one of the major pluses of this district and this board. One thing also that I think is a major positive is the hiring practices. I think we have a great system in place that I can tell because I see the results of it. I don't see the individual work that you guys do, but I see the teachers that are here that we've seen earlier that are coming on board, from nurses to psychologists to the teachers themselves to the administrators, the principals. I think that proves that the board is doing a very good job. The only thing that I would like to see, and I certainly don't think it's a negative, and I sort of look outside of the box on a lot of issues, and it goes back to my communication, is I think we need to communicate more and more with the community in unofficial events. I think sometimes coming here, and even if I wasn't, asking to be on the board, it would be a little intimidating for a lot of families. They don't want to sit in front of a board. But I think if we're able to get out to the community, and I'm just using ideas that pop in my head, there's fairs and there's Yorktown-run events that if we were able to be there and talk to the people as they're walking back and forth and just say, we're part of the board, how are we doing, how can we help you, help your students, your children, I think that they would open up a lot more, and then they could tell us some things that then we could bring back as a team and really discuss it and go ahead with that. Other than that, I don't see any negatives as evidenced by what's behind you. Thank you.
So that was all the questions. We guys were going to go, I think our next step is to go back in and discuss. Are we all right doing that right now? So can I have a motion to go back into executive session for the matters pertaining to discussion of a future trustee?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Guys, we'll be back. Have a motion to go back into public session?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, so we had a very long discussion. And I guess one of the things that came out of it was how fortunate we are to have 7 really qualified candidates. I don't think we've ever really been faced with that in this district, have we? Anybody who's been here long enough, we've never seen that. So I think we're really lucky. I think that goes to the strength of the district and the community and, the history that Ralph brought to us for 11 years and what we've hired Ron to continue on. So we're really grateful to everybody who came out, and we really thank you. So our decision is not a reflection of anybody or anything. It's really hard to do this. But I think the consensus we came to was the best fit for the district would be to bring Pete Pisaccia back on for right now. But what we would like to do is encourage all of you, I know, Lisa, you're very involved, but to encourage everybody to be involved in the district, to stay. Please run for a seat when it's open. They're open every year. We have a lot of committees, a lot of other things we can do. Your skills are so valuable, and we encourage you to please use them to help us get better, because we're always trying to get better. So we really encourage you to stay involved and to come back out again, and we may be here again, we never know. So we want to thank you all for coming and for putting this up. It wasn't easy for what you did, and we thank you all. I don't know if anybody wants to say anything else.
Just thank you.
So thank you all very much.
Yes, thank you for being part of this. And also, just to piggyback what Jackie said, please come to meetings. Oftentimes, you might be shocked. We don't have very much of a turnout, and so all of the things that you talked about in terms of feedback to the board and the ability to communicate, there's 2 opportunities at every meeting, and we'd love to get input from everybody all the time. So please come to meetings and continue to show interest in the welfare of all the children. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. So,
Thank you.
What are we going to do with him? He's not going to sit there, is he?
no, because he can't be sworn in right now, so
Okay,
he has
fine.
to,
Come on.
we're just going to make a motion once, should we go say goodbye to everybody first?
We sure.
So hang on, Dennis, give us 2 minutes. Hang on, Pete.
Congratulations, Pete. Oh. Congratulations.
Motion to appoint Peter Bisaccia to fill the seat of Christine Montero until the next election, which is May 15th of 2018.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations, Pete. Thank you. Welcome back. Bye-bye.
Bye, Pete.
Okay. Thank you. Bye. All right.
Okay, Jackie. Come on, get us through that agenda. Let's go.
Yeah, the next thing we have is our superintendent's report.
Okay.
He's got nothing to say.
No, we're going to take you're
I'm
going to just
joking.
behave yourselves,
Ron,
guys.
take
We're
all
going to have a
the time
meeting. He's giving you 30 seconds.
Let me get the minute.
I'll be very brief. I just want
It's
to
okay.
thank so many of the other people who've been involved in the hiring process. We've had a very busy summer. Dr. McGinnis, who's in the audience, Mike Rosen has had a huge part as well in the hiring, so thank you to both of them. I didn't acknowledge you earlier when I acknowledged the principals, Lisa, Tom, and Dennis, so I apologize for that, and thank you for all that you've done. We're having a very interesting week. We had our administrators retreat today. We have our new hire orientation tomorrow. We welcome back all of our staff on Wednesday. And on Thursday, we welcome Dr. Michelle Borba, author of Unselfie, to the district for what should be a very inspiring workshop and seminar on empathy and building empathy with our students. And then on Tuesday, we welcome back all of our students. Buses start running just after 6, and we are looking forward to welcoming them back. Thank you.
Thank you. What Dr. Hatter didn't say was how much work he's put into the district. I think he's probably aged. He told me superintendent years are measured in dog years. So I think we're already aging him.
I see some gray on the temples.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I want to know if he was going to go gray or go bald. Welcome to the board, Ron. All right, we're going to do board reports. Audit.
Audit, yes. We have an audit committee meeting next Thursday. I believe it's September 7th. And we'll have our internal auditors there, Tobin Associates. They'll present the results of their latest risk management report. And I'll also be following up with the external auditors to find out when their report will be available so we can get that on the agenda, which has to be approved by the board by what's the date? Remember the timeline?
It's in October, isn't it?
See, before the end of October, right? Okay, so we have a little bit of lead time there.
Okay. I just have a quick question. I know you probably don't want to hear this, but with the internal auditor, is there any need for the audit committee to be, not the internal, the claims auditors, any need for them to be reviewing any of that stuff, or are we good the way we're handling it now that we've got a real formal process?
The
claims audit.
You're talking about Mr. Robbins?
Yeah.
I don't believe so.
No?
His first
Okay.
report's been sent to the board, so he continues to be a huge value added.
Okay.
It's actually not a bad idea, though. Are you asking, should we have the internal auditor just look over what the claims auditor is doing
Or should the
audit
audit
it?
committee at least look over what the claims auditor is doing and see if the improvements that he's recommending are
I
happening,
actually-
are we doing?
I don't think we have to do it, but I like the idea. So maybe not in this meeting because we have the Tobin, internal,
Right.
the risk management review, but maybe in the next meeting.
Yeah, maybe, just spot check it once.
Yeah,
every.
that's a good idea.
Okay, thank you. Occasionally I have them. Fiscal, Mike?
Fiscal doesn't really have anything at this time. We will reconvene somewhere in the budget season. Also waiting on info so we can discuss capital reserve funding and whatnot, but nothing else at this time.
Okay. Policy?
Yeah, we last met the beginning of August, on August 8th. And tonight we have one policy up for adoption, 4 to be deleted, and we have 7 first reads to be done by the board. And we'll be meeting next on September 12th.
It was a long meeting.
Yes, it was.
And steering, I think the board did a walkthrough of 2 buildings, so they saw only a little bit of the work. That was the underside of the canopy. There's siding going up on the outbuildings, the maintenance building, Building B, and the shed in the back. There's lighting that's supposed to start, we're replacing lighting heads. That's supposed to start as soon as the lights come in, put LEDs, downward LEDs on the lampposts around the campus to give better lighting. We also discussed the parking lot, the parking area at Brookside, and they're going over the plans. I think next week they're going to meet the engineers, the architects. Dennis is meeting to discuss the plans. Ron has recommended, and it's on the agenda tonight, to bring in the same engineer, the civil engineer, to do a traffic study at Brookside so we can understand. I mean, the parking lot is to give us extra spaces, but the rest of the flow and how that's working. So we'll have the traffic study done to see what else we need to do to make that a safer, more viable area over there. We also started discussing the capital projects. We're starting to try to identify them, timing on them, how to do it. because the best bet is to try to figure out how we can get a chunk of money approved for projects this May, because then we have to go to SED, so we don't know what's going to be done over the summer. Although SED has a new process. I don't know if you heard that. You can buy your way into the approval line now. Yeah. Buy your way in the approval line, yes. BUY your way up the approval line. I don't think they exactly put it that way, but that's what it is.
You can pay for expedited processing?
Yeah, you can pay for it to go to an outside approver.
Everybody else does it.
So,
I love New York.
you learn something new every day. But so we are starting to evaluate, and the goal is to have, once we have an understanding of what we can do and how we want to work it, to bring ARIS and KSQ here so the board can understand the list that we've developed and then start to pick the projects from that list and how we want to go about compiling it. So we're just trying to form the list. All right, I think that was
Question.
everything. Go ahead.
I noticed there's a bunch of temporary lighting on the field in Brookside. Does that have anything to do with what we're talking about?
No,
or
that was
something else?
the YAC football program had been displaced for a bit
Oh.
because of some of the construction going on elsewhere in town. So they requested and we granted access through the end of this week, and the lights are there to give them some extended time.
Okay. Never saw any kids on it, but we did have lights, so that's good.
All right. So that's it for board reports. We're up to board action items. Minutes, a motion to approve the minutes for the July 19th and the July 10th meetings.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Treasurer's report, a motion to approve the treasurer's report for June and July of 17.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Claims audit report, a motion to approve the claims audit report for June and July of 17.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, I know we still have quite a few exceptions. I guess we're getting better at them. I mean, maybe that's something that, you know, we do want to take a look. I know he's done a good job, but there's still quite a few exceptions.
We are getting better. The exceptions, even some of the exceptions that were indicated on this report were for a unique reason. Most of them were from the Educational Data Services Cooperative bid. And because of the peculiarities of that, the board approves that just after the budget process, you approve that contract. So many of the exceptions you see are pertain to those purchases. Overall, he's been a
I couldn't hear
significant.
that explanation, Tom, with the fans and
I
everything.
apologize.
Dennis, it's still, we're having a hard time hearing each other. Making the noise?
No.
Yeah.
it's-
It's
I thought
the
it was
fans,
my-
yeah.
I thought it was my
It's the
hearing
fans,
aid.
really.
Everything,
It's the
I
fans.
can't find
we get a little bit of a hiss. No, that's not
Okay.
bad now. It's
That's
better.
better. Okay, go ahead.
In the exceptional report, there were a number of items that were listed as services purchased before the purchase order was created. We've tracked all those down almost entirely due to purchases off of a cooperative bid that had previously been approved by the Board of Education. But because of the nature of getting into the queue for these things, those purchase orders had to go out before the beginning of the new fiscal year. So they technically went out without my authority, but they didn't go out without our knowledge.
Okay.
When you say the cooperative bid, this is the bid through the BOCES co-op?
The across the river in Rockland, they have the cooperative bid there. It's called the Educational Data Services.
Yep.
And that's typically where we get most of the materials for classrooms and offices and
Yep.
things like that.
So we have to get those payments into their queue, and we just didn't
Right.
have time to create the
If we
purchase
want to get them
orders.
in time for the beginning of the year, yes.
But just so that we know, that was an area that was looked at by the state auditor, so we are going to get dinged there, so I think we need to be just a little bit more diligent in making sure that we're trying to clean that up.
Yeah, we can bring that up when we invite, I think we should invite the claims auditor to the audit committee, right? That's what you're suggesting? I think it's a good idea.
Go ahead.
Good.
Tom, there was something unusual that I saw also. Once or twice, there was a payment for a contractual expense that was supposed to be paid monthly, but we paid it annually or something like that. Is that, it's not routine, but why would that happen?
It shouldn't happen. So I'll give you a for instance. This was outside of this. We pay for the finance manager system, which is called Envision now. It's where the human resources, accounting, purchasing platforms all exist. It's been customary to pay the entire agreement for the license for the year in a lump sum. There's no reason to do that. So we decided to break it up into quarterly payments. As we see those things and as they're brought to our attention, we make those adjustments. That's one of the things that is valuable in these reports.
Okay, great. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, thank you. Extra classroom activity report, a motion to approve the extra classroom activity report for June and July of 17.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? A motion to approve the revised school calendar for the 17-18 school year.
So moved.
Second discussion.
Discussion, Ron, can you want to explain?
Why is it revised?
Absolutely. The New York State Education Department informed school districts during the last school year that they would be enforcing the number of days that schools were in session for the purposes of state aid. And after reviewing our calendar, we felt that there were some amendments that would be appropriate to ensure that we're maximizing the state aid that we're receiving. That entails not a great change, but a minor change. We will be closing schools the Wednesday prior to Thanksgiving. We'll be extending the school day for students that last week of June, where customarily we've had half days for students, so we'll be extending some contact time for our children, specifically at the elementary level. And outside of those changes, the calendar is exactly as it was approved by the board previously.
Terrific. Thank you, and thank you for your hard work getting that done. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Personnel, we just have one more item on personnel. Be it resolved that the Board of Education authorizes its president of the board to sign and approve the terms of an agreement between the district and employee 3581 dated June 30th, 2017, which shall be incorporated by reference into the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Policy. A motion to approve the first reading and the adoption of the following policy. It's 8505, a meal charge policy.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Discussion. Cheryl, do you want to talk about it? You want me to?
You go ahead.
This was one that came down from NYSBA that the state is recommending. It has to do with students basically who don't have money for lunch and how they are to be treated. We don't do it in this district, we never have, but apparently some districts there's some meal shaming, and students get things that are unfair, so we're supposed to, everybody's supposed to put a policy in place. So they've asked for it to go in before the school year, which is the reason we're doing the first read and the adoption tonight.
That explains it.
Pretty much what it was. That was it. So that's it. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Deletion of policies. I think this is my favorite part of the agenda. Be it resolved that the following policies shall be deleted from the policy manual because they were either obsolete, unnecessary, or included within other policies. 3620, our Code of Ethics, which is actually amended and renumbered.
3260.
3260, yeah. 2440, Board Superintendent Relationship. 2270.1, Litigation Procedures. And 2280, Consultants to the Board.
So moved.
Second. Just quick discussion on that. The consultants to the board, I mean, we're eliminating the policy. Is it included in some other policy? Or are we just eliminating
A lot of them are just policies, so we go through them, and Margot, our attorney, will look at them and go, you don't need those. A lot of them are law, they're legal things.
Got it.
They aren't, and so we're trying to trim down our policy manual to something that's actually a usable, readable, viable document. Some of these things haven't even been looked at in 20 years. That's how little they get addressed, so.
Okay.
Policy, everything we do as far as policy committee, we do nothing without the attorney sitting in the room with us.
Okay.
No, really. Okay. So first read. The board will conduct a first read on the following policies. 2160 Code of Ethics, which is the renumbered one. 2210 Board Reorganizational Meeting, I think it's supposed to say. 2220 Board Officers. 2230 Appointed Board Officials. 2250 Board Committees. 2260 Advisory Committees to the Board. And 2270 School Attorney. It's just a first read, so we don't have to have a motion or anything. We are good to go. Anybody have any questions on them? Any comments? Nope? Okay. Business office. Okay. So work authorization, whereas the Thompson Lock and Supply Corporation was awarded a locksmith bid in a cooperative bid through the Southern Westchester BOCES for contract period October 1st, 2016 through September 20th, 2017, and will furnish all materials, hardware, and labor for the door improvement project at Mohansick Elementary. I'm not going to finish reading the whole thing. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby authorizes and empowers the board president to execute the agreement with Thompson Lock and Supply for the same contingent upon review of said agreement by the district's attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, just that's the other piece off of the steering committee. They're replacing doors and hardware in Mohansick, mostly quarter doors, things like that. There's some light panels. We're trying to upgrade all the doors and locks and hardwares throughout the district. So Mohansick was the lucky recipient of this time.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Budget transfers, a motion to approve the following budget transfers as below.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Intermunicipal agreement, a motion to extend the intermunicipal agreement with the town of Yorktown for the 17-18 school year pending receipt of required insurance documents.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Allowance disbursement, a motion to approve the allowance disbursement and change order for Ankelov Brothers. Just so you know, they are the ones doing the siding and the roofing on the buildings.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ksq Contract Amendment, a motion to amend the contract with Ksq Architects to include a traffic circulation study at Brookside Elementary School. The study will be included as part of a new parking lot construction at the Brookside School. The total increase to KSQ's contract will not exceed $9,550.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Health and welfare, a motion to approve the contract for health and welfare services provided to resident pupils attending non-public schools in other districts for the school years indicated below.
Second.
Discussion, just so you know, these are contracts coming from other school districts. We don't have any control when they're just billing us now for their 15-16 school year. That's not on us, right? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Videography services, a motion to approve the agreement between Dennis Latnier for videography services for the 17-18 school year at a rate of $38 per hour, not to exceed $8,200 for the 17-18 school year.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Tax cert. Motion to approve the following tax cert resolution by order of the Supreme Court of the State of New York, here held in and for the County of Westchester on the 17th day of July 2017. A school tax refund in the amount of $69,744.78 is due to Gerald Missouri for the tax years of 2011 through 16.
Second.
Discussion. Tom?
These are 3 individual parcels on Front Street, one technically on Mosman Avenue. One is a vacant lot, but the other 2 are active businesses. And it's the never-ending story, so.
How many more we have coming down the pike this year?
I'm estimating somewhere in here, we're due to get about a $350,000 award, we believe. But this year, somewhere around $600,000.
Can I just ask, don't these tax certiorieries usually slow down in a period of, increasing real estate values typically? I mean, I'm surprised we're still getting them. I know they look back 7, 8 years, but still I see here 15, 16, 17, 18, they're still.
Yeah, you would expect, just from looking at the data from an empirical standpoint, that it would indeed slow down. But as long as they're willing to go back here, in this particular case, 6 years, then we're going to continue to have these awards, in my opinion.
Tom, isn't it also true some of these were instituted a while ago, and it takes a long time for them to get through the process and through the system before they get a judgment, so.
Yes, so what we're looking at now, the only significantly large awards that we're seeing now are from very highly valued properties, like the one that we had over on Strang Boulevard, for instance. We're not seeing large awards due to 12 years worth of aggregated awards, so that's the only difference. So we're able to get a pretty good fix based on the initial submission of these documents as to what our exposure is.
Okay.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? one of these days. Aramark extension. A motion to extend the contract with Aramark for food service management effective July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018.
Second discussion.
Yep, go ahead.
This is, I mean, don't we usually discuss these in general before? I mean, was there a discussion around doing an RFP or?
Yes, this was a formal bid, Tom, that was 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It extends through the 2019 school year, at which time we'll be required to go out for a formal bid again.
I see. But we still have to approve it each year.
Yes, we have to approve the extension. If we don't approve the extension,
this is an
as
extension,
Ron is
okay.
saying right now, we have to go out to bid, yes.
It's also, it's a CPI, 1.8% CPI increase
correct.
to them.
Okay. Mike, did you have a follow-up or?
My question was going to be, where are we in the cycle? I know we have extensions. We have one more extension, and then we
One
go
more
back
extension,
out.
then we go out to bid, yes.
So next year, you'll start rewriting the contract?
In January of 2019, we'll start to write the specs.
Okay, that's fun. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Legal retainer, be it resolved that the board president is hereby authorized to execute a retainer agreement with the law firm of Shore, Pearlson, May and Lambert for legal services during the 17-18 school year at an annual retainer fee of $85,000. A copy of said agreement shall be incorporated by reference within the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Athletic announcer, motion to approve the athletics announcer agreement for the 17-18 school year at a rate of $125 per game, not to exceed $5,600 for the 17-18 school year.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A motion to approve the agreements with Dr. Eric Small and the AFC Urgent Care as school physicians for the 17-18 school year.
So moved.
Discussion, just so everybody knows, their contracts have actually already been signed. They were needed to start when physical started, so I was asked to sign them in advance. I did have a call with the attorney who said that that was an acceptable way to do it, so just everybody knows they've been signed.
I'm sorry, can I go back one?
Go ahead.
The athletic announcer. In the past, that position was always at the discretion of the athletic director. We have a new athletic director. We keep in the same process. How does that work?
Sure, the process hasn't changed. As a matter of fact, we sat down with Rob early in the summer, and he went out to see if we could get competitive quotes. So he went out to look what's out there, and he decided that this has significant value.
Good. Perfect.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So back to the school physicians. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? School physician addendum, a motion to approve the addendum to the agreement with Dr. Louis Casaro as school physician for the 17-18 school year.
So moved.
Second. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Is yours on? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're quiet. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Obsolete. Whereas the district owns student desks at Yorktown High School that are no longer useful or necessary for school district purposes and therefore are of no value to the district. Therefore be it resolved that the board hereby declares 184 student desks from Yorktown High School to be surplus property and of no value to the school district, and authorizes the director of facilities to dispose of them by donating them to the Friends of the Oatsville School District, Oatsville School LLC in Oatsville, New York. And whereas the district owns computers and related technology equipment that are no longer useful or necessary to the school district for school district purposes and are therefore no value to the school district, therefore be it resolved that the board hereby declares such computers and related technology equipment as listed in the attachment that is made part of this resolution to be obsolete property and of no value to the school district, and ratifies the actions of the director of technology in causing the disposal of such computers in an environmentally compliant manner and ensuring that all information and data stored within the equipment has been destroyed, with the district receiving $1,866.58 from the disposal.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I am really happy to see that we are in a position now where some of the stuff we're allowed to donate. In the past, we weren't allowed to donate, and now we are, which we are very fortunate to be able to do instead of disposing of stuff. Okay, APPR. A resolution to ratify the execution of the 1617 APPR implementation certification form. Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby ratifies the execution by the board president and the superintendent of schools of the 16-17 APPR implementation certification form for its annual professional and performance review for classroom teachers and building principals covered pursuant to Education Law Section 3012D and Subpart 33 of the Rules of the Board of Regents.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And an authorization for an execution of an APPR independent evaluator hardship waiver application for the 17-18 school year. Be it resolved that the Board of Education President is hereby authorized to sign the signature page for the submission of the independent evaluator hardship waiver application for the district's educational law section 3012D APPR plan to the State Education Department for the 17-18 school year. A copy of said application shall be incorporated by reference to the minutes of this meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Consulting agreement, a motion to approve the consulting agreement for professional development with Dr. Michelle Stone, LLN Consulting Group, and the Yorktown Central School District for the 17-18 school year, not to exceed $50,400.
So moved.
Second discussion? What-
ahead.
It doesn't say what the consulting services are for.
Yep. What's this for?
Michelle Stone is somebody that we contracted with through BOCES, and we began working with her for the purposes of utilizing her services to help us define our ELA block at the primary buildings. So our teachers at the primary buildings will be trained over the course of the year on how to best maximize what they're doing during their ELA block in terms of balanced literacy.
Okay. Did you say there was another attachment? Anyways. No, I looked at it, but I didn't see it. But anyways.
Okay?
Yep.
All
I'm
those
good.
in favor? Aye. Opposed? Interprep agreement resolved upon recommendation of the Board of Education, hereby authorizes the superintendent of schools to execute an agreement with Interprep, Inc. for the consultant Greg Duncan to provide the following services to the Yorktown Central School District: assistance in the development of a world language curriculum and assessment design, professional development of teachers through on-site workshops in the amount of and not to exceed $15,000 for the 17-18 school year.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Special ed, resolved that the Board of Education approves the terms of settlement and release agreement involving student alt ID 4976.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we have individual contracts. A motion to approve the following contracts for the 17-18 school year. We have Action Physical Therapy, HTA of New York, Kids Express, Listening Partners, Stacy Mason, Music Conservatory, Strategic Learning, Laura Wirt, and Yoga Shine.
So moved. Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Special ed placements. A motion to arrange the following special ed placements for the August 28, 2017.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We have gifts, grants, and donations. A motion to approve with gratitude the following gifts, grants, and donations to the Yorktown High School: $24 from the New York Life for Cause LLC, $17.88 from the Kula Foundation Q2 Red Robin Loyalty Program, and cheerleading mats and Velcro straps from the YAC Cheerleading. At Mohansick, we have door coverings and shades from the Mohansick PTA. And from the Foundation for Excellence, a motion to amend the June 5, 2017 approved grant in the amount of $20,930.04 to $25,680.04, or $4,749.96 in additional grant dollars for the purchase of an Imagination Playground building blocks from Mohansick School and learning chairs for the Brookside School.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We thank everybody very much for their generous donations. The foundation is always very generous to us. We're very lucky. We are up to board comments. Anthony, you want to start?
Yes, I just want to thank all the candidates for coming out tonight, and I wish them luck and congratulate Pete Bisaccia and welcome him onto the board, and great night tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I agree. I think this was a very nice situation to be in, one that we're not accustomed to, and I think that's great. I also want to thank Jackie and Cheryl for the time they put in developing questions, the process, et cetera, so that when we got here, we knew what we were going to do and had a game plan. So thank you, ladies, for that. I know that was a lot of work.
Well, we had great candidates tonight, and we were in exec session for a while, so that clearly speaks to their abilities and their qualifications. And welcome back, Peter.
Welcome back, Pete.
Yeah. I echo everyone's thoughts. We had some strong candidates, and it was great to meet a lot of new people tonight through the process of trying to find a new Board of Ed candidate. And welcome back to our newest candidate, Pete Bisaccia.
So, of course, welcome back to Pete. So this has been a busy summer, even though it's summer. And like I said, Ron's been working really hard. I've had the opportunity to work with him over the summer. And I got to say, I'm really excited for school to start. I think he's got some great plans. He's got some big plans. I hope he's going to stick around and implement them all. I know Lisa and Tom have worked really, really hard all summer long. And Sheila and Mike and everybody in the district. We started our facilities tours. And, of course, they're always as beautiful as, you know, the kids deserve and the staff deserve. So we want to thank you for all your hard work, and welcome. It's your first official board meeting. The other one was easy. So Ron, Lisa, Tom, anything you want to add?
Can I just,
Go ahead.
before you guys, I just want to echo that sentiment. I drove in here this evening, and the place could not look better. I mean, the campus looks fantastic. So thanks to everyone who did all that work over the summer to make it look as good as it does. And thanks for your leadership, guys.
I just want to, transitions are never easy, but I just want to say this, Ron, your arrival has been seamless. The productivity levels have been really high all summer. A lot of activity, a lot of positive motion. Really excited for the start of the school year. Really nice to get out of the gate that way, so I'm very impressed.
I would also like to echo what Tom said. You know, as any new change is happening, people are always a little bit leery about what that might look like. And I think that we are off to a very good start in terms of the work we're going to be doing together that Ron will certainly lead. One of the things that I've really enjoyed this summer was an opportunity to do the hiring that we've done and to do it together. And you were able to meet a handful of our new staff this evening, and I'm so looking forward to having them join us, as well as our existing staff coming back on Wednesday, and to be able to kick off the year in such a positive way.
Terrific.
So thank you all. First, it's just wonderful to be surrounded by such a talented team. So for everything I do, there's a great team that's there, and it's we do. It's not I do. It's not they do. It's all we do. And to be surrounded by people of Tom and Lisa and Sheila and Mike and Dennis, people of their caliber, I'm blessed to be here. I'm very fortunate to be here. It's a tremendous team here. And I think just great things lie ahead for us as a district. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to welcoming back our students a week from tomorrow. Thank you to those who expressed interest in the Board of Education vacancy. I encourage you to stay involved, and I look forward to welcoming Pete upon his arrival.
Terrific. We are up to public comment. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Keep it there. Now it feels like it.